What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the season finale of Belair Season 3, Episode 10. Episode was titled Save the Best for Last, you guys. And before we go ahead and get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of Bel Air, shall we, you guys? So this episode, it is Hillary and Lamarcus's wedding, and I was like, oh, so we are actually going through with the wedding. I was like, cool, cool. We going through with the wedding. I'm here for it. So we're going through with the wedding. I know you. I know you're lying to me. Like I know you lying to me. Neither here nor there. Oh, sorry, you guys. This is Hillary and Lamarcus's wedding. So Will got a text message from Drew, and he's basically talking to Carlton and telling Carlton, like, when it comes down to me, you and Drew, we should all be able to at least work together, right? So Hillary is going through the house because she can't find her engagement ring. I was like, Hillary, I know where your engagement ring is, but she didn't ask me for what I thought. But I was like, girl, I know exactly where your engagement ring is. Your engagement ring is at Jazz's place. That's where your engagement ring is, right? So we see as Uncle Phil, Aunt Viv, and Lamarcus's dad, along with Hillary and Lamarcus, they're working on the programs, right? So Uncle Phil, Aunt Viv, and also Lamarcus's dad, they also given little tidbits on what to expect with the relationship, right? When it comes to marriage. Now, when Lamarcus got there, he asked Hillary. Actually, no, he didn't ask Hillary. It was in this particular scene where he asked Hillary, like, babe, where's your ring? And she was like, oh, I'm just getting it cleaned. I was like, oh, good one, Hillary. But that ain't gonna be able to hold you for very much longer. So Lamarcus's dad, he over there looking. I'm like, ooh, do he suspect something? But I don't know, right? But Lamarcus's dad's advice to them was, in your marriage, not to let things fester. Kind of like that kiss, like you kissing that woman, Phil. And Hillary knew nothing about this, and Uncle Phil was like, "Bruh, cut it on ixnay the kiss aid, right?" So we see Drew. So Drew is talking to Carlton and Will, right? He's basically telling him he's the overseer. He's telling them how he's tapped in with the youth, and he said that they need new merch and they need brighter colors as well. So he showed them a shirt where he changed how the spelling of black says. He took the crown away and put an A for black says, right? And Carlton and Will, more specifically, Carlton isn't feeling this. And I'm with Carlton, right? Like you can't just come in here. This is something that me and my cousin started together. Like you can't come in here and just change things up. But sometimes that do happen in business, where sometimes you might get some investors that say they want to change some things up, but it just depends on you, right? So Drew, like I said, Drew had the new design. He also has some people lined up, some retailers lined up wanting to work with them, right? So when he showed them that new design, Carlton was ready to get at him, but Will kind of stepped in the middle and tried to keep the peace between them two, right? So then we see Hillary and Aunt Vivian. They're talking about this whole situation with Erica, and Aunt Viv told Hillary that Uncle Phil didn't kiss Erica. Erica kissed him, and does she wish that it didn't happen? Yes, but she said that there is no other woman. This is a woman that we went to college with that's been crossing the line since then. And so she also told Hillary, like, in your marriage, you know, if there's anything that's on your mind, you might want to go ahead and say it in that moment. I was like, there's a lot of stuff that's on Hillary's mind that she should tell Lamarcus, right? So we see it as they all have made it to the vineyard. Lisa and Will are both in a wedding. And Will is questioning, like, is this happening way too fast? And Carlton and Lisa was like, mm-mm. So Carlton was looking forward to bringing a mirror to the vineyard for this, but Lisa's like, "There's always next year." Will, I'm not Will, but Carlton. So we see Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil. They're talking about Will and Carlton going into their senior year of high school. Ashley getting ready to go into her freshman year, and they'll be empty nesters pretty soon, right? So Uncle Phil's like, "Well, now is as a better time as any to start practicing." And Viv was like, "Nah, Phil, I'm a little seasick from coming over here." I was like, "No, ma'am, you ain't seasick. You's pregnant with little Nikki. You are pregnant with little Nikki." So Carlton came up to the room and he's asking Uncle Phil if he looked over the contract because Carlton is trying to get out of this whole business with Drew. And Uncle Phil told him, "Yeah, I did look over it, and there are ways for you to get out of it." But Uncle Phil was basically telling Carlton, like, sit down and think about it. When it comes to business, you don't want to make business decisions off of emotions. And I was like, that is absolutely true. You don't want to make you don't want to make a business decision based on your emotions. You want to make a logical and well-informed decision, that one that you can, live with and be like, I made the right decision. So I'm glad Uncle Phil had that conversation with Carlton. So then we see Ashley and her friend Eli, right? Eli, he's not actually at the vineyard, but he's not that far away, right? And so Ashley and little Eli, they're talking, right? And she told him that she likes him too, but for right now, she feels like they should keep it a secret. I was like, oh, now here's my thing with little Ashley, because you had an issue with Hillary keeping a secret from Lamarcus. You've had an issue with your parents, and so now you want to keep a secret from them. Isn't that what I like to call a contradiction? Just saying, that's a contradiction, little Ashley. But hey, it is what it is, right? Now we see Jazz. So Jazz is at his apartment and he was looking at his shoe. I was like, Jazz is going to find Hillary's ring. And lo and behold, he found Hillary's ring and he called Will to see if they had left yet. And Will told him yes. So we see Hillary. Hillary is freaking out about the ring, and Ivy is sitting there telling her to lie. And Hillary's like, Ivy, I'm not going to sit here and lie starting my marriage. So Will came in with Jazz on the phone, and so Ivy is telling Jazz to come there, and they'll buy his ticket to bring Hillary the ring. Now we see Will as he's talking to Carlton, and he's talking to Carlton, Lisa, and Ashley, and telling them about you know the ring situation, right? So they know that they saw a double rainbow, so they make a wish on it, right? Carlton said it comes true because he wished for a nice body, and Will was like, and you got this little body right here. So a mirror, not a mirror, but Lisa wished for a sign to either continue with swimming or not, right? And Ashley wished for her first kiss this by the end of the summer, right? I was like, Ashley, you know what you're doing when it comes to that one, because you're gonna try to kiss little Eli. So, Will saw his mom. She was there, and she came there with the guy named Gerald from the hospital. And Will found out they were both staying with each other. And I was like, Will, because you can see it written all over his face, and it's so interesting because this is how I used to be with my mom. When my mom used to say, "Oh, I'm gonna find me a boyfriend," I was like, "You're absolutely not gonna find you a boyfriend because uh-uh, I'm not playing that game. I was not playing that game." I was like, "No, ma'am." I, like, no, ma'am. Like I was super territorial of my mom, and I was like, "No, you don't need a boyfriend, and that ain't what you need, sister girl." Even though I made the joke, I'm all that you need, and I was like, she was like, I need a friend. I was like, you can have a friend. That is all you can have is a friend, but a boyfriend, absolutely not, Miss Ma'am. You are not going to be doing that, right? So Lamarcus was talking to Hillary. This is the night before the wedding, and he's excited about the next day and them getting married. And Hillary told Lamarcus that she had something to say to him. She could never spit it out, but then she said to him, "If you want a prenup, I'm okay with it." I was like, "Wow, Hillary, if he wants a prenup, you're okay with it? Your family is rich, so and he didn't catch that like a prenup." But he said he don't need no prenup. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then we see as the wedding crew is they're taking the pictures, right? What I will say is they looked good. They looked real good, everybody. But what I noticed in this scene was because Jeffrey and Uncle Phil took a picture, and he was talking about our little girl has grown up. And then when he was talking to Will and Carlton, I was like, the way that Jeffrey is talking, he's so sentimental. I was like, Jeffrey, is this your swan story? I was like, please don't let nothing happen to Jeffrey. Like, I was like, don't let nothing happen to Jeffrey, and don't let Jeffrey leave, or like, because it was just the way he was talking. You could definitely tell it was a goodbye. But I was like, no, Jeffrey, you ain't leaving us. I can't have that. We can't have that, Jeffrey. So we see as Will saw Vi and Gerald, right? So he pulled Gerald to the side, basically told him to treat his mom right. And so, Gerald was like, well, your mom was getting a lot of attention in Philly, and he was just happy to finally be able to shoot his shot. And Will was like, she got a lot of attention. Where? So this is the part where Jeffrey was talking to Will and Carlton about how proud he was. And like I said, when you listen to it, it was the writings were on the wall that something was going on with Jeffrey. And I was like, Jeffrey is about to leave us. So after that, we see as Jazz, he made it with the ring in a sandwich bag, right? So Jazz told Will that he wanted to go give it to Hillary himself, right? So Will took Jazz up to the room because Jazz felt like it's fate that he had the ring and that he's there. So Will told Jazz, like, Jazz, don't do anything to mess up this wedding. So they took Hillary the ring and he asked her if she was happy. And she said yes, right? So we see Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv took Lisa to meet Jamal Hill, who was able to have a conversation with Lisa and just basically tell Lisa not to give up on her her swimming career, right? Oh, he's an actual American swimmer. Okay. I was wondering if he I don't keep up with swimming, so I just had to look that up. So after that, we see Lamarcus. So they were getting, Will was getting out of there with Jazz, and Hillary gave Jazz a hug. And so Lamarcus saw him, and he was like, "What in the hell is going on here?" Right? And Lamarcus was ready to rough up Jazz, and Will was like, "We were just leaving," and after the Will and Jazz left, he asked Hillary, he's like, "Why is he always around?" So Hillary told him that, I went over to Jazz's crib and I just needed closure, and I left my ring there. And so he brought it back to me. She also told him that, she and Jazz, they did kiss, but it meant nothing. And, she said that she tried to tell him, but she couldn't, which she absolutely did try to tell you, but your heart stopped on that football field. So that was just a freak accident. And you know what? He told her, you know what, Hillary, I can't do this anymore, right? So as of right now, the wedding is off. So we see as they're going to try to figure out a way to get him to go on down the aisle and marry Hillary, right? So Will and Ashley went and had a conversation with Lamarcus, and Will was like, Jazz is my homeboy, and I was rooting for him and Hillary. And Ash was like, yeah, and this is my worst nightmare. I even wrote a song about it. Will was like, yeah, and it's really good. And he was like, okay, Team Jazz, how is this helping me, right? But they both ultimately said that they see how happy Hillary is with him and that she loves him. So then Hillary came up and she was talking to Lamarcus, and she was telling Lamarcus, how much she loves him, and that she's willing to fight for him and their marriage, and she got up and walked away, talking about she'll see him at the altar. So we start the wedding, and Andre Day is there singing, and I was like, okay, Andre Day. So the wedding started. Everybody started walking down the aisle. No Lamarcus. We get to the point where Uncle Phil is walking Hillary down the aisle. Still no Lamarcus. I was like, oh, bro, man, really ain't coming. But Lamarcus does show up, and he walks in. He and Hillary, they got married, right? So after that, we see Ashley and Eli. They're talking, right? And she's talking about being open with her parents. He was like, you like girls, I like boys, and we like each other, right? Lisa, we find out that Lisa is going to continue to pursue her dreams of nationals, right? And then we see Will, he had a conversation with his mom, and he accepted that she's dating Gerald, and she let him know that she's done all she can to protect him from bringing men in and out of his life, right? But she did tell him that the talk with Lou that they had, it really helped her. And so after that, we're back at home. So Carlton let Will know that the doors open for him at Princeton, because they were so proud. They were, happy with his story of redemption and comeback. So the doors are open for Carlton. And Will has, told Carlton, like, we need to sit down and try to work things out with Drew and let the past be the past. So we see as they did sit down with Drew, and they did agree to let the past be the past. And so then after that, we see them with Amira. So Amira is going to rehab. She did apologize to them for the things that she's done. And, she's going to a rehab for trauma, right? Is gonna be the rehab that she's going to is gonna deal with her addiction as well as her trauma. And we saw her say her goodbyes to Will, Lisa, and more importantly, Carlton. And she told him that she loved him, right? So after that, we see Uncle Phil. So you guys remember in the last episode when Uncle Phil met up with Yolanda. Well, they're still gonna go through with the development that they wanted to do, but this time it's gonna be something that does benefit the community, right? Is property taxes. There's gonna be something there to help the people with the property taxes. There's going to be something that's going to put a halt to the auction process. So this is beneficial for the community. This is going to put money into the community. This is going to revitalize the community. So it's not gentrification. So we're good. And so after that, Will and Carlton were like, wait a minute, wasn't Jeffrey supposed to be here? And I was like, oh my God, like where's Jeffrey? I was on pins and needles the entire time, thinking about the last episode with them saying that Roman, the deal didn't go through. I was like, oh my God, like please, 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 don't let nothing bad happen to Jeffrey, right? So Jeffrey wrote a note for Uncle Phil, basically letting Uncle Phil know that he does love the family, and he has a second chance to be with his family. And so he's going to take that chance to be a father, right? Aunt Viv. So we see Aunt Viv, and Aunt Viv is in the bathroom, and she's taking a pregnancy test. And I was like, girl, I knew it, and it's positive. So Aunt Viv is pregnant with little Nikki. So I guess next season we'll see her. Now I wonder how they're going to play that off next season. I wonder if they're going to, because I wonder if they're going to do like what the game did. Because when Tasha was pregnant, pregnant for a whole season, and she had her baby by the end of the season, right? So I wonder if they're going to do that with Aunt Viv, and she's going to be pregnant for the entire season. Or actually, I wonder what they're going to do for next season. Is it going to be a time? I know it's going to be a jump in time, but I wonder how much time is going to elapse from this episode to season number 4. So I'm interested in seeing that, right? So we see as Hillary and Lamarcus are on their honeymoon, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this honeymoon is about to end in trap. I could see the writers on the wall with this one, that this honeymoon was going to end in some kind of a tragedy. and I knew it was going to be LaMarcus. I honestly thought LaMarcus was going to kill over at the wedding. Just being honest with you guys, I thought it was going to be the wedding for LaMarcus, right? So we see as Will went over to Jeffrey's place is cleaned out, right? So Will went outside and Will got kidnapped by the people in the G Wagon. I was like, dang it. I didn't know that part I didn't see happening. But when Will walked outside of that door, I was like, they about to kidnap Will. And then Lamarcus. Lamarcus. I do believe that Lamarcus is no longer among the land of the living because when Hillary went to the bathroom, I was like, girl, when you come out that bathroom, Lamarcus is going to be non-responsive, and that is exactly what happened. When she came out that bathroom, Lamarcus was not responding to her. I was like, yikes! But that is season 3 of Belair, you guys. It was a really good season. I enjoyed it. I'm hoping that season 4 is back on track with being put out in February instead of the summer because I like it when it's in February because that it's not a lot of stuff that comes on in February. But that is season 3 of Bel Air. Let me know what you guys thought about this season in the comments below. I absolutely enjoyed it. I enjoyed reviewing it, and we'll be back for season 4 of Bel Air. But until then, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.